How's it going, dogs? Today is July 6th at 9 a.m. All the festivities of the 4th has ended, and like a firework, my candle's been lit, and I'm ready to explode with a video full of game dev. For those new to the channel, welcome. I'm making a horror game called The Haunting of the Jill Wilson Family. As the title sounds, it takes inspiration from horror films filled with ghastly hauntings and follows a Cambodian-American family set in the 70s. These devlogs are mostly chill with lots of thoughts and considerations when making a horror game, but also a sprinkle or two of tutorials. Anyway, kick back, relax, or toss me on the side as you do your own thing, but above all, enjoy. Good morning, you guys. We are back in it, and I did manage to do a couple of things between last video and this video, and you can't really tell what's going on. But they're having dinner, and I pretty much did the same stuff that I did in the last video with the tea party, and it's just setting up the table, getting the characters in position. Tommy is nightmare fuel. Yeah. Everyone's been cut in half. They've been guillotined. It's unfortunate. Everyone lost their legs. Tommy just, well, deranged things happened to him. But look at this. This is the incredible result of losing your legs and being dismantled as Tommy. You can sit at the table and eat dinner. I still have yet to decide what to do for their dinner food, and I will be honest with you, I still don't know what to do for it. Ignore the clones of the kids running. I'll talk a little bit more about the scene as I go through it, but first off, we made it to devlog 10. It's crazy. We have yet to complete the first day in the game, and I think there's 3 or 4 days total, and we're at devlog 10. That's cool. I don't think we'll be at devlog 40 by the time we do 4 days, but it's just like, wow. Time to sit back and think about it a little bit. Okay, that's pretty good. So for this video, we'll be doing this dinner scene, and I think we are actually going to lead up to the very first major haunting. It's going to be this scene. The player will get to play as Charlie for a little bit, Charlie being the father. So we are swapping main characters from Maisie to Charlie. And then we're going to eventually become Tommy. And it's with Tommy where the terrifying terrors happen. Which, this is your foreshadowing. Dun dun! One of the challenges of making cutscenes is being the director of the scene. My job's a little bit easier here because I'm stuck in this perspective as a pixelated game, but I still have to define the scene to the best way possible for the viewer. In my case, I've decided to have Charlie take the top seat. I wanted him to face down so that his face is in clear view, such that it signifies his importance in the scene. As a matter of fact, the game will shift to taking on his perspective. aka, he'll be the playable character after the scene. I had Mary and Maisie take the angle seats as they'll be the supporting characters for this case. Mary supports Charlie's dialogue, and the player, as Maisie, eventually receives a prompt. Tommy is the least important character in the scene as he'll only support Maisie's dialogue and needs the least amount of focus. That's how I decided the position for each of the family member. Now, the next point of focus is the meal they're having. If the primary objective of this game is to create a horror game, I would say the secondary objective is to introduce a bit of the Cambodian culture, but of course with subtlety. What that means is an introduction to a Cambodian cuisine called lop lak. It's actually an Americanized dish that can be thought of as a salad. The primary vegetables are lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and for the protein, a special marinade of beef. It's usually dressed with a pepper lime sauce that goes perfectly with it, and it's often eaten with rice. Feel free to look up the recipe if you like, and do know that it was definitely one of my favorite dishes growing up. All that said, don't worry, I won't get too crazy with the foreign dishes. Speaking to Mary after this scene will actually reveal that tomorrow's dinner will be quite the common American dish. I'll leave that to your imagination and for you to discover because I actually found it to be pretty funny. But then again, of course I do. I am making the game after all. So that ended up taking a smidge longer than I was hoping for, and it was because I forgot to make the face assets. So I spent like a good hour just stewing all of these faces just for Charlie and Mary though. Although Mary's a little bit more tougher because she had a new fit and I had to go ahead and create that. Oh god, her hair is doing some weird clipping thing. No, I gotta go fix that. Oh wait, I'm not even holding the camera. See, that's how sad I was. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that, and her hair is also doing some weird shadowy thing. Anyway, after this, the table is still completely empty. I'll figure out the meal that they're having at some point. Probably far down the line when I finish the game and then I start promoting it and be like, guys, it's ready! And then I do a last play test and I'm just like, oh my god, they're eating nothing! Freaks! But after I fix Mary, I'm going to do the portion where the player gets to play as Charlie to get a little bit of free roam so that they can explore, examine some stuff, and learn a little bit more about the family and the history of the house as far as they know it. And then we can finally begin the first haunting. And I did misspoke. It was not with Tommy, it was with Maisie. And this is the haunting that she sees in the demo that you see towards the end with the flashbacks. So you're getting that two different perspectives sort of situation, and I think that makes it a little bit neat. And then next week, after the weekend, I'm going to go on another vacation, this time with my girlfriend and her family, and we're going to explore the wonders of Acadia. But we will see where we get to throughout this week and whether or not I will be at it again throughout the weekend. Or next weekend before the trip. Alright. See you at some point. Oh. For vacation, I went to Acadia in Maine with my girlfriend, her siblings, and some of her cousins. We were in Monday, out Saturday, and had a very nice time. As you can imagine, everything was beautiful. We caught the sunrise on Cadillac Mountain. Unfortunately, the fog was a bit too thick, and we couldn't get tickets for a second chance, but it was still a very nice view. Walked around Jordan Pond, checked out the, wait for it, Thunder Hole. And that's it. That's the Thunder Hole. Went to Sand Beach and walked the Great Head Trail, explored Bar Harbor and its land bridge, and saw the sunset at Bass Harbor Lighthouse. Food was good, and of course ate my share of lobster rolls and blueberry pies. The lobster rolls at Bar Harbor Lobster Pound was the majority's favorite. Same for the pie, with Side Street Cafe being a close second. Thursday was a bit rainy, so we stuck inside. We saw Sinners and enjoyed all the old memes that came out of it, and started a series called Untamed. It's on Netflix. In it, the main character mentions how people only see 10% of the park before leaving. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing another 10. Acadia was a beautiful place, and if you love those national parks and just nature in general, I would highly recommend checking it out. What's up, dogs? It's July 26th at 8:30 a.m. It's been 2 weeks, and not gonna lie, I kind of feel like I forgot how to do this. Anyway, Hi. So I managed to complete a lot of the things that I said I was going to do. I have added the hauntings. So while you're playing as Charlie, as you're going through the maps, a few little hauntings may appear. And the way I did it was... Shazam! It's all controlled through this common event under a parallel process through a single switch, and pretty much it's going to wait for 20 seconds, and then it's just going to throw out a random number, and if it happens to hit below a certain number, aka it threw up a arbitrary number, 69, so it has a 69% chance of activating. And actually, this one does not. This involves something else that I wanted to build upon a little bit later, but pretty much. So if you happen to stumble into the playroom as Charlie, of course there's something going on with this curtain over here, but it's actually controlled over here, and it is on page 2, and as long as haunting RNG is greater than 31, aka 100 minus 31, just happens to be 69% of the times that this will activate and a haunting will occur. So there's a tiny haunting in most of the rooms that Charlie can go to during the sequence, but not in every single one of the rooms. So if you guys end up playing the game, then I will save you guys some time, and there shouldn't be a haunting in this room. Unless, of course, I change my mind. Hold on, where is it? There it goes. So yeah, some little Easter eggs for you to explore and find. And then I also finally added the small hauntings in the playroom during the tea party that I mentioned I would do in the last vlog, or perhaps earlier in this vlog. It's honestly been some time since I last did vlogs, but yeah, that is all controlled on here, and there's a couple of different sequences, 5 different sequences, or maybe 4 different sequences in total, and that's for you to catch during the tea party. So right now, I am going to work on the first official haunting that occurs in a terrifying way. And I've also did a mini haunting just before arriving to today, and it's going to take place in Maisie's room. But that one I won't show, and it's actually pretty interesting because it leads up to the demo. So if you play the demo, then this map will already look pretty dang familiar. But rather than explaining everything on a hand cam like this, I think I'm gonna just go ahead, get started working, and let voiceover-TheOdie take it from there. If you played the demo, then you know how this scene will go. Maisie wakes up in the middle of the night to music coming from downstairs, only to find... Well, I won't spoil you. Instead, please give the 15-minute demo a try on Itch.io. Anyway, what's more unique here is that the demo is a telling of the events that occurred. It also plays an exclusive sequence of the morning after that won't be a part of this game. Instead, you play through the sequence, which of course is very terrifying, but in my opinion, it's also terrifying to know that things will occur. What I really want to talk about is my thought process behind this scene. Unlike previously, all background objects will not be interactable. I want to keep the player fully immersed into the main sequence at hand, in this case, finding where the music is coming from, and knowing that there's very little you can do to delay it. I also find that this emphasizes the two sides of a coin between non-hauntings and hauntings. The daytime feels very bright, very slow, very easygoing for the player to do whatever they want, but the nights, they feel very cold, dreadful, and forced. I really hope this game sees several playthroughs because I'd love to see people's reaction with how different it feels when the first haunting drops. So I'm still in the middle of making this first haunting. It's only been like an hour since I started working on it, and it made me realize that there's actually a lot more that I gotta do for this. And it also made me realize that I'm starting to enter spoiler territory. Except it's not like completely spoiler stuff because there was a good tease in the demo, but at the same time, I want to make the gameplay significantly different, that's experienced differently from the demo versus playing that sequence out. But what that also means is that this is going to take me like a couple of weeks to go through, and I gotta pick and choose which parts I can show you guys versus which part would be showing too much and just spoil the fun when it comes to playing the game. But moreover, what I did want to say was that it also made me realize how important BGM is going to be for this game. Like going through the small hauntings and creating the little things here and there in each of the different scenes, I realized that how impactful the BGM will be to help carry the scenes. And the music box, even though I already made a few in the past, I realized that it's still not quite good enough, so I need to create a new one. So I'm gonna try and continue to chug along so that I could keep content going and posting on YouTube, but do know that it also means that there's gonna be a lot of time jumps from one weekend to the next weekend, or even skipping like 2 weekends in a row, just because I'm either working on spoiler territory items or trying to figure that keyboard out, or I don't know, a lot of different things. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the devlogs, I think, are going to start slowing down and potentially even being shorter. So it's like the worst of both worlds. Shorter content, further apart. But what I can do in the meantime is create a couple more tutorials, which is what I've been doing in the past. And if you guys have something that you'd like to see a little bit more of, then drop it down in the comments below and I'll see if I can work on it. So far, I've been doing pretty well with getting content up every 2 weeks, but now I think it's time where content may start slowing down. Breaks my heart a little bit to say, but I guess that's what's involved with making a horror game or a story-driven game. Anyway, I'm gonna see what more I can do before my next schedule upload. It's time to start working. Serious mode. Oh wait, it was already pushed up. Serious mode. You guys ever just reread your script and just be like, damn, this is good? Because that's basically what just happened to me. Okay, listen. So there I was pretty much all morning thinking about what I'm going to do next for the game dev. It's kind of stressing out about it. And I just told myself, you know what? Alright, I'm going to just reread what I wrote down in my OneNotes, see how it goes. Maybe it's good stuff. I don't know. And I know that sounds obvious, but like when you're developing a game, you're always constantly having your next development portion in the back of your mind that you're often like, I don't need to reread my OneNotes. I'm sure I got the next sequence that I know that I'm going to do in a bag. But then I was kind of just like a little bit concerned with how I wanted the sequence to play out, and then bam! Had it all in my OneNotes, baby. It's one of those moments where you're just like, good job, past me. You're you're pretty clever. Meanwhile, current you is just like, man, how am I the way I am now? Anyway, I just wanted to really quickly shout out that if you haven't head on over to Steam and wishlist the game, please do so. I don't really do a good job with promoting my own stuff, so I decided to take it on me to try better. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. The goal right now is to punch out this sequence and hopefully tease a little bit of it to you guys so that you guys can at least see a little bit of something than just what you've seen so far. One of the things that I did, which kind of brings back to that tea party in a couple episodes ago, is that I had to make a sprite sheet for each of these characters, and I guess it kind of spoils it in the file name, but they take a tumble, and depending on which stuffed animal you invited to the tea party, well, here they are. That's one of the things where I was like, wow, good job, past me. Bringing back the past to the present. Making your choices actually matter without it significantly matter. Like, just because you chose a cow doesn't mean you're going to have a harder time than if you chose a turtle. Or will it? Ooh. Gotta write that down. Here, you guys can stare at my ceiling while I figure out where to put this in. Yo, this is pretty good. Alright, so where was I? So yeah, I think showing a little teaser will be the end of this video, and then in the next video, I'm just gonna keep chugging along with the story. We're gonna enter the next morning where it's a little bit more chill, and then there's an evening sequence where there's a little bit more dialogue between the parents, getting to know those guys a little bit better. There's probably like a little sequence where you as the player can roam around as Mary finally. Oh, yep, there is. And then there's Tommy. But I'm trying to think about how this will play out. I think in the next video there won't be a haunting, but then in the video after that it will be Tommy's turn. Then at some point I probably should take a break to do some music stuff. But I kind of want to like bulk that all in together at the end. That way I'm like just in music mode. But yeah, that's pretty much the plan. It also seems like this game will take a while longer than Captive, You Are My Idol, which was the previous title I made. Which is kind of ironic because I feel like there's less game mechanics in this game than Captive. There was absolutely a lot of mechanics in Captive, You Are My Idol. I don't know what the word is called, but you dedicate a bit more time and more patience in mastering the art, the directive of this game. That even though it doesn't have those fancy schmancy mechanic, it actually teaches me that there's a lot of work still put into it. It's like I'm not even halfway through this game, and I can already appreciate the level of work that gets put into a more story-driven title than a game mechanic title. But also at the same time, it could just be that I'm really good at the whole game mechanic stuff and the coding behind it as opposed to the art side. So maybe that's to blame instead. Alright, that said, I think it's time to let you guys go. Please enjoy the sequence, and if you did, a like would be very much appreciated. And other than that, please wishlist the game. It would be absolutely awesome. Oh yeah, and one other thing that I haven't been promoting whatsoever throughout these devlogs is that I do have a website, and here you can find all the vlogs for Captive. Ta-da! All organized and in one place. It even has a short, so if you'd rather just watch the short or catch a really quick recap or trailer to see what the video is about, there you guys go. And then of course, if you're just here for the tutorials, Shazam, and my past titles. Bloop, 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 bloop. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Till then, later.